So hello and welcome to Facebook live session of our. Uh, so we so welcome you all to our Facebook live session. Today we are discussing is one of the important aspects concerning special need child life. But before we start, what happens is that parents who have a special need children, they have so much task at their hand while they are planning for their child future, that sometimes it becomes difficult to prioritize what is important for my child life. Social and issues are there, uh, health issues are there, then you have financial issues are there to address. The legal issues are so much that those are difficult to understand, and then you have all other many other issues which comes up in a special need child life. Now, with so much issues, it becomes a daunting task for a family to actually prioritize, because there are life stages of special child, moving from the minority to adult, then adult living at home, in an external environment, and death of one parent, and death of second parent. There are so many life stages, and each life stage had multiple action plan to take. And what happens is that when there are so much issues, there are no information available. You require professionals at each stage, and it's not only one professional. You have a legal professionals, you have medical professionals, you need a financial planner, an estate planner, a chartered accountant. So when there are so much of issues to address, then there are so many professionals you require to address all these issues. uh, there are many a times some of these issues take a backstage, because you need to address something more important today, and where information is not available, probably we delay it to a time where when these information would be available. Now, the only issue while delaying this is that when these concerns, when these issues will actually arise in life, then if you are not prepared well ahead in your life, it's going to be difficult to address. And surely the cost of addressing these issues, if you are not prepared beforehand, is going to be much higher. I remember one of my legal friend giving me guidance, and it was like, so suppose if you want to write a will, now what is the cost involved if I do not write a will today? So the best example he gave, that take the lawyer fees. Now if you write a will today, a lawyer probably will go and have a dinner with his family, with the fee you pay. But if you do not plan a will, your family hire a lawyer after your death, with the cost they will pay. Probably he'll be able to buy a car for his family. So the difference in cost when you are not prepared beforehand is going to be much higher. So what we did today, that we compiled 8 actionables for a special child family. Now these 8 actionables uh, need to be addressed, need to be addressed at right life stages, and also if you can take into consideration these 8 actionable, if you can put your action plan even with these 8 steps, you will be able to cater to most of the concerns with your special in child future. So what we are going to do today is we'll take up these 8 actionable one by one, and let's see how they benefit you. Now in these 8 actionable, we'll go step by step. What is the first one? What is the topmost priority? Now when when you are aware that your child is a special need child, then the first actionable is a disability certificate. So you need to obtain a disability certificate. We have come across many families, many parents, and seeing that they have not taken a disability certificate till the complete minority of the child. And even when he's becoming an adult, it's only when the disability certificate is required, the disability certificate is taken. The disability certificate is the topmost document you will require, because for proving your child is a special need child, for taking any benefit, you will require a disability certificate. Now, what does a disability certificate do? Basically, disability certificate identifies the type of disability, the extent of disability, whether permanent or temporary, and to what extent the disability is there. So, in Indian context, the 40% is considered as a benchmark disability. That means if the disability percentage is below 40%, then actually your child is not considered disabled, and so disability certificate is not issued. So the minimum 40% disability has to be there. And as I said, it shows the type of disability: autism, mental retardation, multiple disability, cerebral palsy. That will mention the type of disability. The disability certificate will also mention the permanence, that is when the child is in minority, then every 5 years the review of disability certificate is there, but at certain stage the disability certificate is made permanent. Sometimes even during the minority it's a permanent disability certificate. That means you don't need to renew it. The disability is going to be permanent for the life. So a disability certificate is the most important document special needs child family requires. Now, what are the benefit of disability certificate and where actually you will utilize it? First of all, the first benefit is obtaining an UDID card. I'm going to discuss next what is a UDID card. The second benefit, you will see any concessions in traveling through air, through rail, anywhere, through state transport buses. So you will require a disability certificate to show that your child is disabled. Then income tax benefit. So when you have a special need child, under income tax you can get an additional tax benefit on the cost you are incurring for the treatment of your child. So you need to that's where disability certificate is required. Then any kind of group insurance which is there for special need children, or even obtaining the legal guardianship, you will require a disability certificate. So disability certificate is a primary document which any parent who have a special need child will require in their life. The second actionable for a family is to obtaining a UDID card, unique disability ID card. This was an initiative by the government where they started giving a UDID card to a person with disabilities. Now, what is UDID card? We all know what is Aadhaar. So Aadhaar for us as an individual, the UDID card is a similar benefit, much like Aadhaar. So we say it's a parallel Aadhaar for person with disabilities. What does UDID card do? UDID card gives every person with disability a unique number. Now, with that unique number, anywhere you are traveling, or if in data regarding that person's with disability needs to be obtained, with that unique number in your UDID card, that data can be retrieved. So a unique disability ID card again will probably comprise of the name, it will have the unique number, it will have the disability type, the percentage of disability it will carry, the date of issue, and whether permanent or temporary. Now, if you look at all these information, you don't even require a disability certificate once you have that UDID card. It is a government initiative. Surely it is implemented project basis. It implemented phase wise. Some states are issuing UDID cards, some states there might be a lag, but I think going future, UDID card, much like an Aadhaar today, UDID card will become a very important document, and parents with a special need child, they will not have any problem in carrying multiple documents. With a single UDID card, they will be able to obtain all the benefits. So the first two documents, first is disability certificate you require when you have a child with when you have a special need child to care. Then second is the UDID card, unique disability ID card. Now where you can obtain the unique disability ID card, the website is www.swavlambancard.gov.in. That's the website. If you go to the website, it contains all the procedure, it lays down all the benefits. Also, one of the important benefit at this website is that if you do not have a disability certificate, you can even apply a disability certificate online today. Through this website, you can check your list of hospitals in your city. If it is listed, you can apply the disability certificate online. So once you have applied it, you will have to visit the hospital for an assessment, and then the disability certificate is issued. So these two are the primary document where you need to start, you need to obtain, and which is you will be requiring for obtaining all benefits, even including any kind of pension benefit or any benefit for your special need child. Now the third document or the third actionable is the legal guardianship. Now why legal guardianship is required? So there are two type of legal guardianship. Two ways you will have to look at the legal guardianship. Now once the law says that once the child turns 18, that is during the minority of the child, the parents are considered as a natural guardian. But once the child is 18, he is an adult, then he does not require any support for making any kind of decision, and so parents are no more considered as a natural guardian. But because he or she is a special need child who requires a person for support for the lifelong, that's where parents have to obtain the legal guardianship once the child turns 18. And what is the procedure of obtaining the legal guardianship? So a national trust is a statutory body which is constituted by the Ministry of Social Empowerment, and through national trust, four type of disabilities: autism, cerebral palsy, mental retardation, and multiple disabilities. So if your child is within these four disabilities, you can apply for legal guardianship process through National Trust website. Today the process is completely online, so online you can fill up the form, and once the form is submitted, then you are called for an assessment. After that assessment, the legal guardianship certificate is issued, and then you are legally authorized to take decisions on your child behalf, and these decision can be financial, legal, personal, or any other decision which you have to take for the benefit of your child. So now, and this is where the parents have to seek the legal guardianship once the child turns 18, and it's mandatory because you will require legal guardianship for even opening bank accounts, for managing bank accounts, for making any investment, because it's going to be under guardianship. Any financial decision you take, it's going to be under a legal guardianship, and that's where the legal guardianship is going to be important. And that's the third actionable. The moment child turns 18, you need to obtain the legal guardianship. Also, you need to look at who's going to be the next guardian after you, and so you need to appoint that guardian because after you, that guardian is going to take up the legal guardianship. So the legal guardianship is the third most important document, third most important actionable, and as the child turns 18, you will require. The fourth actionable is the financial and the estate plan. Now, why we are seeing the financial and estate plan? First of all, why financial plan? Because you need to provide finances. You as a parent, you need to provide finances for your child care even after you. You have to manage your life. You have to manage your child life. You have to ensure that the financials are there today, tomorrow, later on, and also the financials are available to the next caregiver or the next guardian who is going to manage your child affairs. Now, how to provide these finances? Unless and until you do not know the requirement, you do not know what amount of money you need to leave for your child after you, or what amount of money you will need in your retirement years to manage your child financial affairs, you won't be able to provide it for. And that's where preparing a financial plan is very, very important, because it helps you in channelizing your finances in more efficient way. Also, it helps you in managing your finances well. It helps you in identifying the financial requirement for not only for your child, but even for other family members. If there is a sibling, his education, his marriage, and any other goal which is there in your life, you have to provide for. Simultaneously, you have to provide for the special need child. So, and we all know, as a salaried individual, we have limited resources. So where the money is going to come from? You need to going to build assets in the future. But what happens today? So what are those assets which can provide an instant funding to the child care today? So all this can be identified through a financial plan, and that's why financial plan is really very important. And the fourth actionable for parents is to prepare a financial plan. Along with the financial plan, you also prepare an estate plan. Now, why an estate plan is important? Because you want to protect the assets you are building for your child, for his or her future. Also, not only after you, but within your lifetime also, you want to protect the wealth you have created. What are those legal framework which can be created to ensure that the child care continues without any hindrance, without any difficulty? What are those legal framework? So all these you identify when you prepare an estate plan. So estate plan gives you that what are the legal documents, what are the structures you need to create, how you should distribute your wealth, who will inherit your wealth in what amount of ratio. So whether if you have two children, how much money should go to special needs child, who will manage that money, is the trust going to manage that money or any legal guardian going to manage that money, who's going to be the next legal guardian, at what point of time he is going to take the manage the affairs of your child after you. So all these issues, all those legal framework you can be identified when you prepare an estate plan. So a comprehensive estate plan along with the financial plan is very important. And yes, once you prepare a financial and estate plan, then comes preparing those legal documents which are necessary for managing your child affairs. And the first one is the will. Now, why will is important? Because we say when you die without writing a will, and then you die intestate, and when you die intestate, then the succession laws of India, they takes over, illustrating that how your assets is going to be distributed. Now, the manner in which the law says probably won't be what you have wished. Now, if you want to bequeath more asset to your child, if you want assets to go to the trust, they should be bequeathed to the trust which will manage your child affairs. It can happen only with a will. Without a will, the legal heirs, whoever are as per the list defined in the succession law, they will inherit your wealth. And within those legal heirs, one is going to be your special need child. But as I said, one is giving legacy to the special need child might not be the right way, because he won't be able to manage it. And second, you might have to bequeath more to the special child. But along more important is that if you are forming a trust, then the wealth has to be transferred to the trust, and that can happen only when you write a will. So will is again another important actionable which a family should write it today. And what are the elements of a will? Appointing a guardian, distributing your assets, identifying the ratio, creating provision of a trust. If you have not created today, that happens through the will. And when you have a will, then your legacy is distributed as per the content of the will, as what you have wished. And in many of the cases, in many of the cases, we have seen that when you don't have a will, then a family has to go through a lengthy legal procedure to claim the asset which you have left for them. And to avoid your family going through all that process, especially when there is a special needs child, then you have to write a will. So will becomes one of the important actionable. Then a living trust. So we know what is a private trust. We have been doing a lot of awareness workshop on creating a private trust. So living trust is very, very important, actionable, which a family should take today. Now, what is a living trust? A living trust is basically a structure, a legal framework which you create today during your lifetime. Now, parents, when they're creating a living trust, they become the initial trustees, start managing the trust affairs, and they identify the next line of trustees. Now, what is the benefit of a living trust? A living trust benefit is that, one, you as a parent come to understand the functioning of the trust, come to understand how the trust going to function. Also, if you have identified any future trustees, you can add them as a co-trustee, and during the course of managing the trust affairs, you will be able to know that whether that person, individual, capable of managing the trust affairs. And also the person also comes to know that whether he would like to be a trustee in your trust. So it benefit in both ways, and that's where living trust is very important. the largest or the biggest benefit of a living trust is that, one, the continuity of managing your child financial affairs. Now a will can go for a probate, and during the probate, the assets, we say, get stuck up, no distribution happens. So what happens if you have planned everything through the will? Because then even the legal guardian won't be able to manage the affairs. But if you have assets lying in the trust is not impacted by the will probate process, and so the trust continues managing the affairs. Second, it's a continuity wherein you don't have to think that what happens after one individual. If you leave it to the legal guardian or an individual to manage the financial affairs, then the question arises, what happens even after him? So what happens when the third person dies? So you need a chain of legal guardian to actually see that the lifelong affairs of your child can be managed. And to avoid that, the trust is created where the trust manages the child affairs, financial affairs till the child lives. And that's the objective of the trust. And once the objective of the trust is completed, then the trust gets dissolved. So a private trust is essential for managing financial affairs. It helps in continuity of managing financial affairs irrespective of what life situations you are going through. And second, the most important benefit is also that the assets, once are transferred to the trust, they get protected by any claim, by any legal hire, or by any creditors. So that's again an important actionable, a living trust which should be created. The next actionable is a durable power of attorney. Now we all know what is power of attorney. You are giving powers to any individual to take decisions on your behalf for managing the affairs, financial affairs. But let's consider a situation where due to any situation, maybe accident or anything, old age, you become incapacitated, you are disabled, you are not in a situation to take any financial decisions or any decision for your child behalf. Now what happens, because you are the appointed legal guardian, so who is going to make that decision? That's where durable power of attorney or a health power of attorney helps. It comes into practice when you reach when that situation arises in your life, and in that situation the person you have appointed manages the affairs of your child. Now you can limit the powers, you can keep it up to the only legal, or you can keep it only up to financial affairs. So you can limit the affairs which the person is going to manage. So a durable or a health power attorney helps in those situations, and these are very critical situations. We know at old age you are going to fall into that situation sometime. You will be legal guardian till you live, but there are other situations also where you can be incapacitated. You can reach to a situation where you are not able to take decision on the child behalf. So durable or a health power attorney. And the last actionable is a letter of intent. Though we are taking it last, but whenever a family asks me that what is the first document I should create for my child, what is the first actionable, and that is your letter of intent. Now what is a letter of intent? Let's consider a situation. You have a 40-year adult who is a special needs adult, and something happens to the parents. Now you have appointed a legal guardian who is going to start managing the personal affairs of this 40 years old adult, special need adult. But your appointed guardian is not aware about the child, the affairs, whom to contact, who are the medical professionals, what are the institutions which can help, what is actually his or her requirement, what is his daily life, what is his daily schedule, what happens if a certain situation arises, how should I manage it, what care should I take, how do you want it that your child should be taken care in different kind of situation. Now all these, if you consider all these, it's a very difficult situation for the legal guardian, and sometimes if the burden is very high, and knowing that they have their own personal life, they have their own family to take care, sometimes they must just deny taking up the guardianship because they do not know any affair of the child. So letter of intent is one single document. It's not a legal document, but it's one single document which becomes a guiding resource for any future caregiver or any future, even the trustee is also going to manage your trust affairs from your family side, because they won't be knowing much about your special need child affairs. As you know, as a parent, you have taken 24/7 care. So writing a letter of intent is the 8th actionable. So these are 8 actionable which any family who have a special need child to care should create. So what are these 8 actionable? The first is disability certificate, the primary document. Once you know you have a special need child, then you need to obtain the disability certificate for multiple benefits which you will have to avail. The second actionable is the UDID card, unique disability ID card. We say it's a parallel Aadhaar for person with disabilities. Tomorrow UDID card becomes a one single document wherever you are traveling abroad, India or wherever. Through this unique disability ID card, your child situation would be identified, would be screened, and you don't have to carry multiple documents like disability certificate or any other. What is the site for UDID? It's www.swablambancard.gov.in. If you Google search UDID card, the website will come in. That is the second actionable. The third actionable is legal guardianship. So very important, because as I said, you are your guardian, natural guardian only till the child turns 18. Once he is or she is an adult, then you are no more a natural guardian. You actually cannot take decision on their behalf. So managing all the financial affairs, taking decision on their behalf, you would need a legal guardianship. So once the child turns 18, you have to apply for the legal guardianship, and the National Trust is a website where you can apply and who issues the legal guardianship certificate. We have mentioned that there are 4 types of disabilities which National Trust cater to. If you have a disability apart from those 4 disabilities, then you generally through SDM office, there are standard format which are there, so you need to fill up that format. You need to apply. After an assessment, legal guardianship certificate is issued. And the next actionable is financial and estate plan. Most important, because without having financial and estate plan in place, you won't be able to know what is your child requirement, how much money you need to save, how much money you need in your later years of life, what are the provisions you can create today. So what are the eventualities which can come in life, what happens, where will the finances come in, what are those tools which you will require, which can instant fund the trust. Let's take up trust. If you have even created a trust, where would the trust get the fund from? So what are those tools? And what in estate planning, what are the legal framework you can create? What are the pros and cons of each of these legal framework? What is best suits to your requirement? All these questions can be answered when you have a financial and estate plan in place. The next actionable is implementing these legal documents, the tools which you require. The first one is the will, very important. Without a will, the assets won't be transferred or won't be bequeathed to the trust. The trust won't get any funding, won't get your estate if you don't have a will. Also appointing a legal guardian, bequeathing more to your special need child. All these can happen only when you have a will. So writing a will today is very, very important. You can write it in a plain paper. Registration is not mandatory, and even you require 2 witnesses to complete a will. As I said, registration is not mandatory, but it is desired, and registration process is not that difficult, and it's done on a minimal cost. Then the second is the living trust, where you create a legal framework. It's a legal framework which ensures that the child financial affairs are managed without any issues. They are managed on a continuous basis, and the assets you have created, the wealth you have created for your special need child, that gets protected from any claim by any legal heirs or claim by any creditors. The next is a durable power attorney. That's the 7th actionable, which is basically when you reach to an old age, you are incapacitated. So in that situation, you appoint somebody to take decisions for your special need child on his behalf, because you are the appointed legal guardian. And the last, but the first, I would say it's not the last document, the first document is a letter of intent, which is a guiding resource. You create a guiding book, you create a document which will help future caregivers, future trustees, and even your other family members to know about your child, to know about your child personal affairs, to know what you wanted, to know what's your vision. So these are 8 actionables we have compiled, and what we feel that if a parent of a special need child can take these 8 actionable, can put these 8 actionable into action, you can be prepared well for eventualities, for all those situations which will arise during your child life stages, and where you will need to complete these, you will need to address these issues. You will be prepared well today, and to address all those kind of issues which will come up tomorrow. Okay, let me take some questions. Yes, Dr. Ashok, guardianship takes long time. I do agree. It does take long time because it's a defined process. National Trust appoints local level committees at each of the states locally, and these local level committees will cover the process. Yes, it might take up some time. Different states have got different experience. I do agree. There are issues in that, but I think as we go, move forward, as we look at more and more parents are obtaining legal guardianship, these processes will be simplified in the future. Okay, Kumar Vembu, what is the site for UDID? It's www.swablambancard.gov.in. So that's the website where you can even apply for the disability certificate also if you don't have one. But yes, that's a website where you apply for the UDID card. On okay, Dr. Ashok, on legal guardianship, I think National Trust is the right body. I can just share our experience being in Delhi, that if you write to National Trust, if you talk and discuss with them, I think those issues which are there at the local level, community level, those get resolved sometimes. So probably those processes which are taking a longer time, parents bodies can come together, write to National Trust, and it's our belief that they do take into consideration. You can write to Chief Disability Commissioner. So there are hierarchies, there are levels where you can take up all these issues and which can be addressed. Okay, probate, what is it? So probate, just if I have to give it in a simple words, whenever a will goes for a dispute, so it goes into the court, where court looks at it testifies the legal hires and all the content of the will. That's generally a probate process. A dispute is different, but when it goes, how does a probate process happens? That executor applies for a probate in the court. The court invites all the legal hires for any objection on the will. They also issues advertisement into a national newspaper, and then if there is no dispute, then the court issues the probate certificate. So this process is minimum 6 months, and then it depends on the it depends on the proceedings of the court, how much time it can take, but that's the process. There are some states where probate is mandatory, like Maharashtra, West Bengal, and Chennai. So their probate are mandatory. In other states, the probate is not mandatory, so even without a probate, the will gets executed. What if you need to change guardian? So yes, there is a process. There is a process where you have to write to National Trust that you need to change guardian, but valid reason has to be given. If it, due to health reason, you need to provide those documents. So if it's a very valid reason, it takes into consideration, and thus it changes the legal guardian. But you cannot change it if the existing legal guardian is healthy, there are no issues. Then it's very difficult to change the legal guardian. It can be changed only into different situations, and you need to provide a valid reason why you need to change the legal guardianship. It can be due to health reason, it can be the existing legal guardian moving abroad, the law would not sustain the legal guardianship. So if a valid reason is given, you can change it. And again, if the legal guardianship certificate, because National Trust issues it, so you need to write it to the National Guardian. They do have a process of changing the legal guardianship. Okay, that's all for this live session. We will be again next week live discussing some important aspect. Just to recap, 8 actionables for all the families. Take up disability certificate. Okay, first is a disability certificate. The second, UDID card, obtain it. The third is legal guardianship. The moment child turns 18, take the legal guardianship, appoint the next guardian. The fourth is financial and estate plan, create it comprehensively, understand what are the legal framework required, understand how much money you require for lifelong care of your child. Then you have the will, prepare the will today, ensure that something happens to the parents, then the framework is in place which can protect the assets which parents are leaving for the managing the child financial affairs. Create the trust today. If you are creating a trust, we have discussed how it helps in continuity of managing the child affairs. Durable power attorney or a health power attorney, do consider it, because at some stage of life you would reach to that situation. And letter of intent, do write it. First document, if you ask me what are the first document, where we should start, just start writing a letter of intent, prepare it today so that you are prepared well for tomorrow. Okay, last question, Dr. Ashok, after death, how legal guardianship changed? So after death, one, when you are applying for a legal guardianship, you have to give the alternate legal guardian. So at death, the alternate legal guardian will take up the legal guardianship, and in absence of both parents, then you have to write it into a will, or you can write a letter of guardianship document, create that document where you will appoint the next line of legal guardian who will take up the guardianship of your child after your death. So that's all for now. We'll be, as I said, we'll be live in another Facebook live session. We are going to discuss some other important aspects also. But let me also announce today, we are starting a webinar series for special needs children families. Our first webinar is scheduled on Saturday at 11 AM. We will be sharing the content. It's a free webinar which will be on how to manage your emergency during this coronavirus. So how special needs children families should do an emergency fund or emergency planning during such kind of the situation we are, if this situation arises, and in today's scenario, what are 4 steps they can take to be prepared well. So this is the first webinar, and we are very soon going to share you the schedule of our next webinars also. So we are starting these webinars exclusively for special needs children families, and we are going to discuss each of these steps we have taken today. There are many other aspects we are going to discuss at each of these webinars, step by step and issues by issues, so that families can join these webinars, can understand and can take the next action plan. Also visit our website www.planspecialneeds.com. There are many educational courses we are running. There is a 2-minute tip we are running. There is a course we have just started for writing a letter of intent, where we will help you through video series, will help you to understand what do you need to write in a letter of intent. We will take up question by question. We will guide you what you need to write in that, and after this e-course you will be able to write or you complete your letter of intent, and this you can do in just 10 days. So do visit our website. Thank you for now, and see you in our first webinar on Saturday. Thank you.